smokeless tobacco, cigars, hookah, and e-cigarettes. I'm Matt Reese.
Filling your news feed with the top trending news at the top and bottom of the hour. Columbus's news is on News Radio 610 WTBN.
If you haven't quoted Allstate lately, it's the perfect time. Now Allstate has new lower auto rates. You can get the same high-quality coverage and hands-on expertise now at new lower rates. Call a local Allstate agent and get a quote now.
Have you been lied to? Lied to by Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine? Hi, I'm Inc. magazine best-selling author Brett Kitchen, and if you're over 55 with an IRA or 401k, I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because according to Time magazine, Wall Street's 401ks have failed millions of Americans. After losing 35% in my IRA and the crash years ago, I said enough. And since then, I discovered a way to grow money potential double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free book and talk to a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose in the market crashes. Call 1-800-503-2828 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, when you call right now, you get free shipping and handling, no credit card required. And I'll send you a free copy of the audiobook so you can listen in your car. Call 1-800-503-2828. 1-800-503-2828. That's 1-800-503-2828.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm your host, Eric, along with my father, Phil. Guys, you know, if you're out there listening, I think we sound like we got it together, don't you?
I'm going to air our dirty laundry, Eric. How can we each get here at 9 o'clock, 8:30, 8 o'clock, and still be hustling around trying to get ready for the show?
I don't know.
Because you guys are slow. I've been here
Ed
2
just
hours
rolled
ahead of
in
time.
10 minutes ago.
Well, but no, we added Ed to the show, and he's on probation.
But I was here plenty early enough.
Yeah, you are, Ed, but you're just sitting on the stool.
Well, you guys don't tell me what to do.
I'll tell you what to do.
You said to sit here and look pretty.
Yeah.
So, guys, did you enjoy a week off last week?
I did.
You know what?
I don't think Phil was, though.
I think I was in here.
Did you come in? I figured you'd come in.
Yeah.
So I was. I was out in D.C.
Yeah, I know.
Seeing the sights, and I'll tell you what.
Hanging out with all them libs.
Well, there was. But I'll tell you what. It was really neat. My son had never been there before, so we did all the touristy stuff. The National Archives, absolutely incredible. So you could go in there, and you're actually looking at the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. I mean, it was pretty neat.
I thought we had that hanging up over here in our hallway.
Yeah, no, they have a copy of it there.
Okay, all right, there you go.
But then of course, seeing everything on the National Mall, and the weather was perfect for that. But Arlington Cemetery, Papa, I mean, we've talked about that a long time.
Yes, sir. That's my old stomping ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were able to go there and see the changing of the guard. It was just magnificent.
Have you ever seen the video of where the guard has to challenge somebody?
No. I saw that live when I was up there.
Oh, really?
Did you really?
Yeah, I was up there in D.C. 2 years ago for the police memorial. And
yeah.
We were on the mallway watching them, and there was some people talking. I believe they were foreign. I'm not too sure, but he had to stop and turn around and tell them all to be quiet.
Really?
It was pretty interesting.
Wow.
I mean, well, I think there was also some people that went beyond the barriers. And
really?
Yeah.
Now, so off air, we do have some questions for you, Papa, and there were some interesting things that I wasn't sure. Like when they're one of the things when they are, you see them, charging the weapon. Mm-hmm. I mean, do they have rounds? I mean, there's nothing there, right? But it must just be to show that it's empty.
Well, no. What they do when they change the guard, then the sergeant of the guard, he checks the rifle,
okay,
and he inspects it and everything else, and pulling back the bolt is one of the things that he does.
Yeah, it was neat.
Checking it for cleanliness, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but and I don't remember if the magazine is in or not. But if he did that, it's going to lock open.
Right.
So my guess is that if I don't think it has the magazine in it.
I did notice. Do you remember? And I still have the article on my desk. That SIG, I think, donated some sidearms.
Yes.
And they're real shiny. We saw those.
Yeah.
That was neat.
Well, for the listeners out there that probably don't know, is that back years ago in the late '60s, I was in the military. I was in the Army, and I was stationed. In the old guard, which is the folks who do the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, the Fife and Drum Corps, the Army Drill Team, and unfortunately, my task was a casket bearer, and I spent a lot of time in Arlington Cemetery because it was during the Vietnam War, and so we would have as many as 7 to 8 funerals a day sometimes.
Wow.
And so, so that's kind of my history.
Yeah.
And then I was lucky enough to get in Life magazine.
You're right.
Yeah,
Front
you're
cover.
a famous guy.
Famous guy, but some of the younger people, they don't even know what a Life magazine is.
Is that online?
Yes, yeah.
It was really neat. And then we also we were able to do a tour of the White House. It was just really neat. And just the whole experience was really great. And topped it all off, saw a DC Defenders game with our good friend Cardell at the helm. That game comes on in 2 hours, too.
Actually, did you get my text during the game? I told you to tell him to get his head in the game.
Yes.
Because he threw a couple passes in the dirt.
Yeah, and Luke was telling him, stop throwing off your back foot. And, so he seemed to pull it together.
Okay,
so it was all good. Well, we are the owners of LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility in our active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you the facts about our industry and ultimately help our listeners and our customers with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today on the show, it's kind of a cleanup day, I guess, but you're not going to want to miss a story that we're going to talk about at 12:30. We're gonna stir the pot a little bit. Something new for us, right?
I think it's about time we stir the pot.
Well, and it's true. I mean, it's, we spoke about this briefly yesterday. We were on the Mark Blazer show, and we did a story. We were fortunate to do a story that aired on this past Monday in Cincinnati. It aired, I think, Wednesday in Columbus, and at some point in Cleveland. There might be a national airing of it here sometime too. But, it's consistently when you listen to any of the politics out there, especially right now, the Democratic presidential candidates, they have all these ridiculous bans they want to put into place to stop gun violence, and it's stuff that we all know won't affect any change when it comes to the crimes on the streets. Right. But we continue to see, being in business, being in law enforcement, Ed, that there are things out there that we as a society just aren't doing, that are, if you're in the business world, we call it the low-hanging fruit. It's easy stuff to change that we just don't change. And we had something occur right here at our store over the last couple weeks. And as we do, oftentimes we dug into it a little bit deeper, and we want the listeners to see if it's as shocking to you as it has been to us. And we're going to call out a couple of people on it.
Yeah, I think we should. And some of those people are politicians, and I think we should.
Right, because ultimately what happens is if we let a bad guy obtain a firearm, as was going to be the case here, and we let that bad guy do it, and that bad guy goes and does something horrible with it, we all know what the headline reads the next day.
Yeah, and I'm kind of going to tout our own horn here. I think we probably are the one of the few gun stores that look out for things like this. That person could have gone to any other gun store and walked out with a gun.
Well, and here's the scary part. He won't purchase a gun here, but there's nothing to prevent him from going someplace else.
Yeah.
And right now, to this day, there's still nothing.
Yeah, and that is pathetic.
It is pathetic. So we'll talk about that at 12:30. You're not going to want to miss those details. Before that, I get the gun of the week. And actually, it is the guns of the week. They're actually, if you're watching on Facebook, they're spread all over the counter. We have something coming up for once, it's really neat. The price is good, and we have a bunch of them. So it's not just limited to Paw grabbing it before anyone else can.
That's a stigma that was placed on me, and that's not
I don't
true.
think that's a stigma. I think it's the truth.
Yep. So nothing. He has nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
No,
because we have facts.
That comment doesn't warrant a return statement.
Well, we have facts.
Okay.
I'd like to thank our sponsors, Rampart Hosting, Toyota West, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, the Trigger Group, Black Wing Shooting Centers, River's Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, and Clean Water Systems. And I know, Paul, you have something near and dear to your heart. Our good friends at Clean Water, they have bailed us out so many times. As many of you know, we have a well system here, and those guys
And
have
it stinks.
and it stinks
Yes,
literally.
it does.
and those guys have enabled, and I still am amazed at this, we have gone from not even wanting to wash our hands in it to being able to drink it. And that's our coffee every morning. So those guys are true miracle workers. So
And actually, did you get my email? They'll be back in this next Friday
oh, good.
to do the other fix.
Are you having them infuse the alcohol to it like you talked about or no?
A little bit.
Joining me today in the LAPD studio is my father and co-owner. Sits to my left. Hey, did you know I'm not one, you and I talk. We're not trigger people. I don't get too. And Ed, you're the same way. I mean, you're kind of older school. We're not ones that go get new triggers and our whatever it is. Yeah. Well, I had one put in my AR, the one that I carry a lot.
Why?
Well, because mine had a little creep to it, and I don't, and it was bugging me. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to throw all caution aside. I'm going to take one of these Rise Armament ones that we have that we're selling now, and we're putting in a lot of guns, and they have a law enforcement one that's a little bit heavier. We put that in, and was it smooth? It was buttery smooth.
Yeah.
It was too smooth. I didn't like it. We took it out. It was, it reduced the weight on the trigger.
Dangerously smooth?
Well, see, all the guys up top looked at me and said, "No, I'm crazy," but I just didn't like it. It was just too.
When it hits the fan and you have to use it, God forbid, are you going to really be focusing on the trigger?
No. What I was concerned with is if you had to take a longer shot and you were really needed to take an accurate shot at a long distance, just making sure that was smooth. But it's just, I don't know. So you'll be happy to know I took it back out. Sitting to my right, our good friend, Big Ed. He is one day closer to not being on probation. He's also on Facebook. So if you are watching
right now
on Facebook Live, which is a great place to watch, and you have a question, Ed will respond to you right there. So it's kind of a neat thing to be able to talk to the guys right during the show. And he is answering some questions on commercials, too. So
yes,
I know we can't hear back, but certainly Ed will talk to you. If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. That's at 610WTVN.com. It's on iTunes, it's on Google Podcast, and, of course, Facebook Live is a great place to watch it. And then it's archived on Facebook, and it's also on the YouTube channel. So all kinds of good places to see it if you miss it live during the show. And let's see what else we have.
So I got a question.
Yes.
Since John's not here, does that shorten my time on probation?
No.
Because I'm filling in for you.
That's right. No, but you get more airtime today.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
We all do.
And that could.
No, he'll be back next week. But so as we get into the news, we, of course, talked about the trigger jobs here. The Gunsmith does a wonderful job. If you've been considering getting an enhanced trigger on your handguns or your rifles, we have a couple great products here. So stop by and see us on that. Let's see. Oh, here, how about this? And Ed, you just saw this. We consider ourselves not politically correct, right? That's kind of in the whole, on target. We're not politically correct, but we're on target.
There's a lot that we hold back, Eric. Let's put it
There
that way.
is.
There's a lot we hold back.
That is. So we're going to start releasing T-shirts as they come up and as are appropriate. And so we have our first one out there. It's actually on the Facebook page now. So if you go out to our Facebook page, you can pre-order it by sending an email to sales@lepd.com. Pretty simple. You send us an email with your contact info, your size, and we're going to give you a call and get that pre-ordered for you. So the first one, we thought we'd take a famous quote off the presidential trail, right? All these Democratic candidates are out there hot on the trail, and there's stuff flying everywhere, and there's some famous quotes that are coming out of this. So our first politically incorrect shirt that we're going to have made up is one that is, we quoted a former vice president. I mean, a vice president.
Happy Joe.
I mean, how could, that's someone with some clout.
Yeah.
And if you hadn't heard, he had a round table of sorts on the presidential candidate trail this week. I think it was last week, actually. And a lady had asked him a valid question. Said, Vice President, you didn't do well in Iowa. Doesn't look like you're going to do well in New Hampshire. What do you think is the meaning of this? And it was a valid question. And he responded to her in the course of his answer by calling her. You want to read it, Pablo?
Oh, no.
He called her a lying, dog-faced pony soldier.
Now,
Does it get lower than that?
Now, if we knew what that meant, maybe it would have a little bit more meaning for us. But I
I'm
don't know
not sure he knows what it means.
But now, wait a minute. Is he the same one that has a double-barrel slide shotgun?
Yes.
Okay.
The pump.
All right.
It shoots
The
off
pump.
the roof.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. So get your shirts, your lying, dog-faced pony soldier shirts.
I want one.
All right. Ed, that's sales at lepd.com. Ed, you got.
I got to go under there to do
Hey,
it?
there's no exceptions here, Ed. You're on probation. You're no
Come
different
on.
than like Matthew sitting in the crowd. There's nothing,
Wow.
No,
Just don't push it, Ed.
I won't.
So, Paw. Actually, you know what? We need to hit the break.
But I'm still looking for that quote. You said if I want to read it and it's not on my sheet,
It was on page 2.
I'll be darned.
So let's go
Okay.
into break. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the guns of the week sitting right here on our counter. We're on target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Rush Limbaugh.
I like this program to be
All right,
about
you Facebook
you.
friends. Cat Hawk.
It's
how are
strange
you? It's
how
been a
but I
while.
know you're there.
Haven't talked to the husband for quite some time.
And I know that you understand everything I say.
I want to make a shout out to my mom. My mom.
I can't help but feel that I'm
my
letting
brother
everybody
Mike.
down.
Hello, everybody.
Every day I'm not here,
To
I'll be
answer
thinking
your
about you
question,
and missing you.
What am I carrying now?
Monday at
Off
noon.
duty, I carry the Glock.
Thank you very much.
30S.
News Radio 610.
That's my off-duty
WTVN.
gun. And the only reason I'm
From
carrying that is because it
iHeartRadio,
holds
number
so many
1 for
45s.
podcasts, Family Secrets.
Family
Frame
Secrets.
that holds
It turns
that
out
many
that just
rounds. I
about
believe it's,
everyone has
12
them,
rounds with one
which
of them.
accounts for the incredible outpouring of community and sharing of these stories that's happening as a result of my podcast, Family Secrets. I hope you'll join us for some incredible conversations about family, identity, and what happens to both when the secrets that have been kept from us finally come to light.
At the Original Mattress Factory, we believe that when something belongs to you, you'll work to make it the best it can be. That's why every OMF employee is also an owner. From the factory to the sales floor to the delivery team, being an owner means that we take pride in all that we do. Each of our employee owners has a customer-first focus to provide not only a
being
better
told that
mattress,
Rush
but a
Limbaugh's
better
playing well
mattress
on
shopping
top.
experience. Visit a location near you or go to originalmattress.com to see the
On
Original
Facebook.
Mattress Factory difference for yourself.
The
Somebody
popular
just told me that
Roundup
Rush
weed
Limbaugh's
killer has
playing
been
while
linked to
I'm talking.
non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, as
you gonna do
evidenced
about
by a recent multi-million-dollar verdict. If you use Roundup and have been diagnosed with cancer, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
You know that feeling you get when you spend less but get more? What if that feeling also came with a 60-day satisfaction guarantee? Raise your expectations. With Wow Business, you get fast internet and a partnership that helps enable business growth and success. Act now. Get 1 gig Wow Business internet starting at $1.99 a month. Visit wowforbusiness.com. Offer for new customers, 2-year agreement required, subject to change. Restrictions apply.
3ABC6 first warning weather. For today, mostly sunny and dry and chilly, high of 37. For tonight, increasing clouds. Not as cold, though, a low of 32. For Sunday, it gets a bit warmer. There is flurries likely, mostly cloudy and warmer at 42. It is currently 30 degrees on your severe weather station News Radio 610 WTVN.
Talk around the clock and breaking news at once. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. My father, co-owner, sits to my left. He goes by Paw. Big Ed sits to my right. Been a friend for a long
he goes by
time.
Big Ed.
That's good, Phil.
Okay.
Yes, that's
hey,
right.
I have a follow-up.
Yes.
Okay, to the Joe Biden
Yes.
phrase?
Yes.
Okay. It says it's not the first time that he's used that phrase.
Really?
Yeah. At a 2018 campaign event talking about the Republican Senator Kevin Kramer. Okay, of North Dakota, Biden says, as my brother who loves to use lines from movies, from John Wayne movies, he says there's a line in a movie where an Indian chief turns to John Wayne and says, this is a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
So he's quoting John Wayne.
Yeah, well,
now that changes things.
That changes
You
things.
shouldn't be allowed to do that.
That's good, Paul.
All
I'll
right,
tell you
there
what,
you go.
you put you on the internet, and that's dangerous.
Well, yeah, it is, and especially Amazon Prime.
I know, yeah, we've seen that before.
Okay.
Let's jump right to a caller. Dana, you're on with OnTarget. How are you?
Yes, you were talking about what Joe Biden said earlier in the year when he was first started his campaigning. He was in one of these forums, town hall forums, and then somebody said, an older gentleman stood up and asked him about the troubles with his son, and he called him a GD fat liar.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Wow.
And also, I wanted to know, what is the most powerful handgun in the world?
You know what? It's funny to say that. And where's John when we need him, right?
according
Hey,
to
thanks for
Clint
calling,
Eastwood,
Dana.
That'd be your 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun.
Not anymore.
I know.
But you know what? Honestly, I think what it is Smith & Wesson 500.
500.
Yeah.
I guess you had to define powerful on that. So we have our the people in the audience looking that up right now. I think it is a Smith & Wesson 500.
I think you're correct.
So
That's
we
a
have one over here.
big hand cannon.
It is a big hand
and
cannon.
it hurts to shoot.
Yeah, you ain't kidding on that. Thanks for giving us a call, Dana. Thanks for listening. So, guys, it's time for the gun of the week. And this one is kind of neat because we have a lot for people to purchase if they want. Yeah, and I'll take one there. So we had the opportunity of partnering with a department on some trades. They got new guns, which happens often. And what we have right now is something that is, they're actually really nice. They're very similar to what our duty guns are, Ed, except these are in .40 caliber. They are Smith & Wesson M&P 40s. Full size. They come with 3 magazines. Most of them have their original boxes, 15-round magazines. And
multiple grips.
Multiple grips on a lot of them. I mean, look at this, Ed. Look how nice that is.
I don't think it's ever been fired, has it?
Well, it probably has. This has they all have night sights, varying degrees. Some of them are still good. But guess how much these practical, extremely functional firearms are going to be for sale here?
You really want me to guess?
No, please don't guess.
Okay.
So
I
I know how you guess.
I'm going to say $350.
You would guess $350.
At least, yeah.
They would sell in our store if we had one that got traded in. They'd probably sell for pushing $400.
Okay.
Great. The 40 is not as popular as it used to be, but still extremely functional, extremely popular. These are selling between $275 and $300.
Whoa.
$275 to $300, depending on the condition and stuff.
Deal.
And they're available today. So I thought it'd be a good time to do a gun of the week of these, just because it's something that we can share with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And of course, while supplies last, but they are. In typical duty guns, little bit of holster wear on them, but haven't been shot very much at all. Probably qualifying a couple times a year on them, and still tons of life. And
I don't see any holster wear on this one at all. I think
that one looks really good.
This one must have been from the chief.
There, right. Right, so that's
nice gun.
Yep.
Nice gun.
So stop by and check them out. We have several here still, and we'll have them here until there's no more. Popo, as we go into the bottom of the hour, there was a stat that you came across this week.
When I
was
surfing the internet,
researching for the
right
show
after
prep.
Amazon Prime, and it was the thing that caught my eye was it said 2019. 2019 set a new record for gun sales in America, and then the question comes up: well, where did they get the statistics from? Well, they get it from the FBI, and the FBI gets it from the number of NICS checks that happen throughout the year. Well, the big flaw with that is the fact that you don't know whether the person's buying 2 or 3 guns at the time,
Right.
or whether he's been denied. They just go on the check, and so there's a company out there, Small Arms Analytics and Forecasting. They get their information from gun stores, and I'm thinking, you don't report our sales, do you?
No, but it must roll up. They must get it from other means, but ultimately coming from the stores.
Okay, and so I think actually they say that it's the biggest year on record since the background check started in 1998, and it says 28 million NICS forms were were filled out.
But wait, we just heard all the candidates last week saying that everyone's against guns and and everything. But that seems to go against all of that.
Well, now, yeah, a little bit. Well, does that surprise you, Eric? And then it said, now this small arms analytic and forecasting entity says that based on the reporting from the stores, it's really like 13.5 million, which they said is still pretty healthy. And my opinion is, if they used the same method of determining, the stats from, since 1998 to now, then it's all relative.
Right.
And so they're saying 2019 was the best,
biggest.
Was the biggest. And then the question comes up, why? Well, what do you think? And it says here, going into an election year, people are more likely to purchase firearms because many politicians make gun control a big part of their platforms. Go figure.
Right.
Yep.
Right there. That's good. That's good stuff. Now, one other thing, too, that I know that has added to it, I think more states are using the background check system when people get concealed carries now.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a couple more hits on that. But that kind of counteracts the ones that had multiple purchases within that form, too. So it's interesting. It certainly is. We're going to go into break. When we come back, we have a caller on hold we'll get to, and we'll get to our topic of the day. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the news.
This is Corey Sickles with Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Concerned about your investment's rate of return? Let us show you exactly how your portfolio is performing. Visit safeharboroh.com to schedule a complimentary meeting. safeharboroh.com.
Hey, it's Matt McCoy for Universal Windows Direct, where they're more than just a window company. Doors, siding, roofing, and more. Universal Windows use a world-class design with triple pane glass. They have a large selection, affordable, energy efficient. You'll save tons on your energy bills. They're professional and trustworthy installers with a passion for what they do. Call them now at 614-502-5220.
Everything's still good there,
estimate.
sir?
It's buy one window, get the next free with no
Hey,
limits.
is Luis on the line? Does he have an accent?
Or go online at universalwindowsdirect.com.
Yeah, I know him.
Universal Windows Direct. I love my windows.
At the James, there is no
routine. I'm going to go to him right off, but I'm going to go kind of quick so we can get to our topic.
Cure your lung cancer, leading the way to better outcomes, faster responses, fewer side effects, and more hope. Learn more at cancer.osu.edu.
News, traffic, and weather for Columbus. News Radio 610 WVN.
The second 5-star Community Correction Center escaped. State authorities say Joshua Bingham was taken back into custody Friday. He and Jaden Miller were caught, while Jason Drake, Michael Fisher, and Vincent Blanc remain on the run, the 5 escaping the facility through a first-floor window sometime between Monday night and early Tuesday. A Cleveland man pled guilty for raping a young girl headed to prison. A jury sentencing Ricardo Correa to 11 years behind bars for sexually assaulting a 9-year-old victim who was later diagnosed with an STD. And thanks to the quick response of a wildlife officer, an injured bald eagle getting proper care at an Ohio rehab center. Ross County Wildlife Officer Bob Nelson finding the bird with multiple spinal injuries this week. The eagle now under the care of the Glen Helen Raptor Center in Yellow Springs. For more news, listen to The Daily Dive. The big news stories explained, not shouted. Listen to The Daily Dive each day on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. I'm Kyle Cornell.
Hi, this is Scott.
And Melinda Grassett.
The owners of Columbus Mobility Specialists.
We offer both new and used handicap-accessible vans equipped with wheelchair lifts, hand controls, and electronic driving controls.
Come and compare our prices to the other mobility dealers in the area. You'll be glad you did.
We'll even come to your home to work with you and demo the vans. Financing options available.
And we have handicapped accessible minivan rentals.
Columbus Mobility Specialists.
Call 614-825-8996.
Or go to our website, columbusmobility.com.
Let's face it, golfers love to talk about golf. They love to talk about their own scores, swings, and upcoming buddies trips.
And they really like to give professional golfers advice, all the advice.
I'm Shane Bacon, and that disgruntled voice you just heard is Max Homa. Every week on our podcast, Get a Grip with Max Homa and Shane Bacon, we will bring you the most unique golf podcast out there, from a man grinding for titles, paychecks, and that never-ending lobster buffet. iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, but don't take our word for it. Find Get a Grip with Max Homa and Shane Bacon on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric. Joined today in the LAPD studios, my father, Coner Phil. He sits to my left. Big Ed, our newest member, sits to my right. You're going to put the headset on today, Ed? And then JC is not here, but he will be back next week.
If I let him.
Papa, now that is why he's on probation.
Well, the time that our first broadcast live,
right?
Okay, it was at the
Gun Show.
Western Gun Show, and when it came around to me or something, when you were talking, I was buying Girl Scout cookies.
You were. I still remember that vividly. I think I have pictures from that.
Really? Okay.
That's right. Before we go further, guys, I think our good friend Luis is on the line. Luis, are you there?
Yes, how you doing, my friend?
Where have you been?
Well, I'm serving and protect people. As a matter of fact, right now I'm working on duty, and I got sick. I got sick now, but I'm still working,
That's great, Luis. How are you? How's work been? How is your family back in Venezuela?
Well, they're surviving, but we got a little hope. And I want to mention it because I want to say thank you, President Trump. We Venezuelans, we make a history 2 weeks ago when our President Trump invited our in-charge President Juan Guaido to the State of Union.
Yes,
that's right.
That
was great.
He didn't like that. But he said three things. He says that he won't let the communist socialists grow up on the region, and he will smash and break Maduro regime government. That's number one. Number two, he said that he will protect and defend the First Amendment. He wants God and Jesus Christ back to the public school. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And the thing that he said was, I will defend our guarantee of freedom will be the Second Amendment. Oh, my God. I am a happy camper. How about that, Eric?
You know what, Luis?
Well, you sound a little happy.
You know what? How many times I know you've come on the show with us and talked about the atrocities in Venezuela and how you saw it, and you were in law enforcement there, and you saw our country going down that same path. And I know, I tell you, nobody appreciates being a citizen more than you. And you have come here and continued your service here in our country, and we're grateful for that. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that things are.
Now, the only thing about him, though, is that I think he roots for Michigan.
Yeah, but you know what? We've long since forgiven him for that.
Well, it's a free country. You know what I mean? They won't tell me what team rules.
Yeah, you tell them it's a free country.
You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Well, Luis, great to hear from you. Stop in the store. We got to catch up soon.
Yeah, sure. Bye-bye. Great job, guys. Great job. Let's go make America and Venezuela great again.
There you go. Thanks, Luis. Luis is a wonderful guy. Someday we'll tell the story. I don't know if you heard it, Ed, how we met him initially. So, guys, we are more than just a gun store, and we've said all along that we want to do the right thing in making sure that we do our part in keeping firearms out of the hands of the bad guy. We feel an obligation to that, and I think, I don't know if it's the law enforcement part of it, but we have on numerous occasions done stuff to do our part in that and to prevent that. And right in the middle of our busy days and everything that goes on here, something happened about a month ago that we wanted to bring to everyone's attention and see if everyone is as shocked as we are, because this is truly part of the root of the problem. I mean, if you turn on any presidential candidate debate, you hear them talking about impacting gun violence, and then they go off on a tangent about magazine capacities, or we got to do away with the bayonet lug, or some crazy thing that we all know won't have an impact on gun violence. But there's things that can be done. And sensible, responsible gun owners know that. And we're all right saying that there's things within the system that need done to keep the guns out of the hands of the bad guy. So this is what happened. And I'm going to go a couple of steps before we came into this picture. So on Thursday, January 16th of this year, a 911 call was made to a local police department. On the line was a mother. She was frantic that her adult son was threatening her life. If you listen to the call, which we have, it appears that not only did he threaten to kill everyone during the incident, but he also says he's going to get someone to kill his mother on his behalf so they can't pin her on him. Okay, so you're starting to paint a picture. Well, when that call went in, this is obviously an elevated call for local law enforcement, a gun run, Ed, right? So the suspect at this time, and according to the report, was in his underwear, holding a loaded Glock 40 caliber handgun. And according to the report, he was very irate and continually loading and unloading the firearm by dropping the magazine out, racking the slide, and then pointing it at people in the room and making threats along the way. So the 911 dispatcher is getting this as officers are en route to this place. When the police arrived to the volatile scene, the dispatcher held further radio traffic, as is often done in these situations. And Ed, I mean, why do they do that?
So that we're the only ones that are on the air, and then we can have the help if we need it.
Immediately.
Have direct line immediately.
Exactly. So you know that it is an elevated call when that happens.
Oh,
when you hear the tone and you know, that means all other radio traffic ceases.
Yes.
Right? Until those officers check back in. So it gives you an insight into what they were going into. They would immediately, the suspect opened the door with his firearm visibly stuck in his front waistband.
And now he's in his underwear.
Yeah, and I don't know at this point. It doesn't say if he has pants on at this point.
Okay.
But he has the firearm
Must be a
on
pretty
him.
tight underwear.
That's what I'm thinking.
Whole nother story. The two officers were thankfully able to subdue him, disarm him, and take him into custody, therefore releasing the radio traffic. As the police started to sort out the scene, the report reflects some chaotic moments where the victim and other witnesses said the suspect threatened to kill everyone with his Glock.
Aggravated, menacing threats.
Exactly. So he was taken into custody, taken to Franklin County Jail, charged with domestic violence and aggravated
menacing threats.
Exactly. And the firearm, as you would expect in this, since it was in the commission of a crime, was confiscated, impounded for evidence.
Right.
This wasn't a case where there was an argument and the law enforcement said, hey, is there any guns in the house that we're going to take for safekeeping?
For safekeeping.
This was part of the crime.
Right.
So the suspect gets checked into the jail. The next day, Friday, January 17th, the suspect went in front of a judge who allowed him out on bond, which is, you know, it's what we see now in some states. They want to do, you know, away with any bond.
I thought they were held on domestic violence for 24 hours.
Well, this was, but this is the next day. So this was at some point the next day. The judge, though, as common in these situations, set some provisions for him. So we're going to let you out pending your future court date, but we're going to put some parameters around this, right? And then one of the parameters is no further acts of violence.
Right.
Makes sense.
Sure.
Stay away from the victim.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. Now, also common in these circumstances is for the judge to say, you will not be allowed to have any firearms in your possession.
Correct.
That would make sense.
Yes.
But the judge didn't do that. Whether it was an oversight or what it was, that was not a condition of his bond. Okay?
You're not going to tell me they gave him the gun back, are you?
Oh, it gets better. So the bond, so we go through that. On Sunday, the 16th, or I'm sorry, Sunday, 2 days after he gets out of jail, right? Suspect walks into LEPD, right here, okay? Walks in and picks out a firearm to purchase. 2 days after getting out for domestic violence and ag menacing, right? We had no way of knowing what had just preceded, you know, the prior week with him. He didn't raise any flags during the transaction. His attire was noteworthy. I mean, it was something where it looked a little strange, but you know, people were people. So
I mean, look at that.
Hey.
Exactly. So he settled on a Glock 40 caliber.
Okay.
He just got his Glock 40 caliber taken in the commission of a crime. He was subsequently delayed by the NICS system for reasons unbeknownst to us, and he was given what they call a Brady date of Friday, January 24th. So it means that if we don't hear anything back from the system within a couple of days, he can come on that day and pick up his firearm. He was upset with that. He wanted that firearm that day. For whatever reason, He wanted it that day. So much as so is that he told our associate that, hey, look, why don't you go ahead and run this under your name, and I'll just pay you cash.
Oh, really?
So whether he was joking, whether it was just something in passing, nonetheless, it's something you don't joke about in a store. So he went on.
There's a red flag.
Exactly. Or we like to call that a clue.
Right.
Right? So The following Thursday, he calls. He's thinking that that's the day that he can come pick up his gun. He actually gets a hold of one of our associates who's a retired law enforcement officer. And I hear the conversation from our side, and our associate keeps saying, "Sir, you don't have to cuss. Sir, you can't pick this up until tomorrow." So the guy is certainly irate that he can't come that day to get his firearm. Clue number 2.
Correct.
So we did a little digging. And I thought, why is this individual, why is he so anxious to come in to get this? Now, don't get me wrong. There's been days where Pulp and I get on a kick on wanting something, and you kind of want it when you want it, but this just seemed out of the ordinary. So I checked on some public websites, and I saw his arrest the week before. And I thought to myself, well, certainly there's a provision in his bond that says he's not able to possess a firearm. Look at this. So I called the prosecutor, and I said, "Sir, we have this situation. I don't know anything about the case. I believe this person was just involved in domestic violence, ag menacing. He got his gun taken away. He's here trying to buy a firearm at our store. Just thought I would pass it along." And the prosecutor said, "Oh my, this is someone we don't want to have a firearm right now because his firearm was taken in the commission of this crime." He went and looked, and there was no provisions of that bond that says to keep him away from a firearm. So the prosecutor said, "You know what? I'm going to take this back to the judge. This warrants going back to the judge, whether she, by intent or neglect, failed to put this on it. This is something that she should know because of the circumstances." Right?
Exactly.
Seems logical.
Exactly.
So they took it back to the judge to get it added as a provision of bond.
What'd she say?
The rest of the story after the break.
Huh?
How's that for teasing it?
I'm
looking at the clock.
Kind of like Paul Harvey, aren't you?
It kind of is. So when we come back from the break, we'll tell you the rest of this story, and you're going to – and, you said Paul Harvey. We'll tell you the rest of this story, and it's something that is going to shock your senses right after the break. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range.
Real stories.
The new coronavirus. We need to be prepared.
Real events.
Negotiations with the Taliban. Roger Stone. Our immigration law.
Yes, sir.
Real life.
All right, this is a short break. It's only a minute plus weather.
Yep.
57:41 is our hard out.
Awesome.
I've got a 45-second bumper on the way out for you.
Awesome.
So when you hear music, you've got 45 seconds to wrap up.
Life.
Beautiful.
Real world. Very real.
This is Columbus's place to talk. News Radio 610, WTVN.
It's always fun for me when I go to Allen's Coin Shop. Run into so many different people doing so many different things. I mean, some people come to Allen's because they need a little scratch. Yeah, maybe they inherited a few pieces from dad or grandpa, or maybe it's just, look, I'm a little short this month, so here's a few things I need to sell so I can come up with some cash. And Allen's is always there for you on that. Other people like me looking to add to their collections. Maybe it's U.S. coins, it's world coins, it's gold, it's silver. I just want to paw through the big kettle of wheat pennies, or I want to dig in that world coin treasure chest. See what I can find. So many different ways to collect, and now 60 years, Allen's has been taking care of people in Central Ohio. So look, if you need a little money and you've got stuff to sell, stop by Allen's. Top prices, that's what they pay every day. And if you're like me and you're looking to add to your collection, shop online at allensinc.com, or do what I love to do, stop in the shop, State Street in Westerville, and see what they've got today. Allen's Coin Shop, serving collectors since 1960.
Your ABC6 first warning weather for today, mostly sunny, dry, and chilly, high of 37. For tonight, increasing clouds, not as cold though, low of 32. For Sunday, a few morning flurries are likely, mostly cloudy and warmer, high of 42. It is currently 31 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Columbus's news, traffic, weather, and sports station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Get it, Phil.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host. I dedicated that song today, Paul. You don't know
I have no idea what it is.
I know it, but it's a dedication to, let's just say, an old friend. So when we went into the break, we're on a roll today.
We're on the rest of the story.
The rest of the story. We went into the break. We talked about an individual who was arrested for domestic violence and aggravated menacing a month ago. Had a firearm during the commission of that crime and had that firearm taken as evidence during the crime because of imminent threats that he made towards his family, that he was going to kill them. That individual came into LAPD 2 days after he got out of jail trying to buy a gun. And we were surprised to find that purchasing or possession of a firearm was not a condition of his bond. The judge did not put that in there. So we alerted.
I'm sure it was a mistake.
Well, it could have been. I mean, in all honesty, it could have been. We alerted the prosecutor's office, and when we went into break, the prosecutor was going to go back in front of the judge, back in the courtroom, and have that bond updated with the condition that this person shouldn't be in a possession of firearms. Should not be in possession of firearms. You would think that even if the judge initially had this as an oversight or didn't think it warranted it, now knowing that he's trying to obtain a firearm again, you would think that would put her over the top and make this a condition that she could revoke that bond at any time and get him back into jail, right? It's logical, right, Pablo? I mean, you would think.
Yep.
That's not what happened. They brought this back in front of newly seated Franklin County Judge Jessica DeVarga.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Longtime defense attorney.
Yep.
And she again refused to put that as a condition of bond.
Really?
Now, you know what, though?
It shocks. Good.
Well, why don't we request that she calls in and explains that to us so that we can understand it? Maybe we got the facts wrong.
It is true. And that's a good point. We know the facts of the case. We know what happened here. And maybe there's something outside of it. But I'll tell you, from an on the surface, how does this feel and look? It doesn't look.
Well, when you got the prosecutor all up in a roar and he says it should be and he talks to the judge, I don't think it's an omission because we're missing something if he's the one that's handling the case with her.
But was she a defense attorney?
She was a defense attorney. I don't know her personally. I don't know anything about her. She could be a lovely lady for all I know and stuff. But where we get upset is if that person purchases a firearm and goes and harms those family members, you know what the headlines are going to be. We got to stop gun violence. We got to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. And here is a case where the system continues to fail. Now here, I'm gonna sweeten this kitty here and really make you mad. So this happened January 18th, I think he was here, okay? Remember I said that he was initially put on delay?
Yes.
Month later, it's almost a month to the date. Do you think the system has gotten back to us and said proceed or deny?
Nope.
No.
Not at all.
So what can we legally do now? What can we
we could sell them the gun.
Yeah.
As any store in Columbus or anywhere.
We're not going to do that.
Absolutely not. But that's where the system is broke. We talked to some influential people within the state of Ohio, and they're working on fixing some of this NICS stuff. But that is inexcusable that the system can't figure out in a month with this guy. I'm going to make it even worse. This guy is a concealed carry holder.
Oh, geez.
So according to Ohio law, he doesn't even have to go through a background check. Wow, where have we heard this before? Who has stood up here and talked about this numerous times where that thing is flawed, where if they came in, and thank goodness we don't do it, if he came in with the concealed carry and handed it to us, it excuses him from doing a background check. But you would think the store could check that concealed carry to make sure it's valid?
Probably not.
No. Ed, how many times has someone handed you a driver's license that is suspended?
Many, many, many.
And if you didn't have a computer to check, all you could do.
Face value.
Exactly. And that's the system we're living with right now.
This is why the domestic violence courts are so backed up, and this is why that the people that are involved in domestic violence have such little faith in the court system. When people say, well, he's got a court order, he can't come around, that's a piece of paper. It doesn't mean.
But in this case, if it was a condition of the bond and then you find out that they're trying to purchase it, you can revoke that bond, correct?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Put him back in jail.
And the judge has failed there, in my opinion. She has failed tremendously.
I would love to hear the rationale.
And the thing was, she was given
a second chance
to correct it.
And did not.
But who suffers from this? Well, obviously the victim, potentially, but also us as legal, safe, responsible firearm owners. Because when this
Oh, if you
idiot.
would have sold him the gun and he would have went back over to Mom's house and did what he wanted to do the first time, and they said, where'd he get the gun? Our name would have been plastered everywhere.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I think it's safe to say that no other gun store would go through the detail that we do sometimes to check on somebody that's acting funny or the whole bit.
I agree.
But you can't put that responsibility on the store to go so much above, to do that. I mean, we need to be able to rely on that background check system,
for sure.
and not this. I mean, and to have.
Well, this is something that all those people who talk about the loopholes of buying guns should be on top of more than these loopholes, supposable loopholes.
Absolutely. The story that we did in Cincinnati this week, over the last 5 years, 19,000 people have received guns from gun stores because the system can't get its act together to deny it.
Yeah,
19,000. I mean, but Ed, we got to do away with the bayonet lug.
Those are very unsafe.
Yes.
Very
it's the
scary,
craziness.
too.
It's the absolute craziness that.
Yeah, it is.
And it just infuriates us. Fix the system. Fix the system from the judges down to the laws.
The judge is supposed to make the law. They can do no wrong. But she's apparently done something very wrong.
Yeah. I would just love to hear the rationale.
I would too.
So.
I wish you would
invite her to call in.
I wish you would call in.
Yep.
I do too.
Give her some airtime.
Absolutely.
Have her come in. I mean,
some one-on-one time.
We're not going to gang up on her.
No, absolutely.
You're right. No, just kidding.
No, seriously though, I would like to hear the rationale behind it. So there's my story. But on a positive note, you know what we're talking about next week, Ed?
What?
It's all about the ladies.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, should have been this week because of Valentine's Day. But next week, we had someone on Facebook say, you guys don't talk about concealed carry for women, the holsters, the good firearms for them. So next week, the show is all about helping ladies and with concealed carry, what firearms we see are good for them, and the holsters.
Well, I think that we've done our share, helping ladies. I mean, I carry a firearm right now that was owned by lady of the street.
There was no proof that she was a lady of the street. It was suspected.
Well, I thought that she even said that, but that's okay.
She had one arrest.
I cleaned it up real well and everything, and oiled it. It's fine.
And there's Dave Schultz wants to know if any of the dispatcher TV stations are carrying the story we just talked about. And to my knowledge, this is the first I heard about it when Eric brought it to my attention.
Right. It has.
I kind of doubt it, and I'm sure you probably aren't going to hear anything from the TVs or the paper.
Yet.
Not until something drastic happens. Then you'll hear.
Right. So, Well, thanks for listening, guys. I can't believe the whole hour went by here. Next week, we're going to talk about women's concealed carry and firearms for women. JC will be back with this. You're going to be here, Ed, right?
I'll be here.
All right. Stop by. Check out these Smith & Wesson M&P 40s.
Guns of the week. Got plenty of them.
$275. How can you beat that?
That's a heck of a deal.
I know.
What is my price, Eric?
Huh?
What is my price?
$270 for you.
$270.
All right.
Hey, real quick before we go off the air, if I could, can I plug the Blue Nights with Ride with the Blue coming up? We're honoring Trooper Phillips this year. Go to my website or my email address, kbiggin@aol.com. Thanks,
Awesome.
guys. Have a good day.
All right. Have a good week. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Watch the Defenders, DC Defenders, up at 2 o'clock. Our good buddy Cardell Jones.
From the Elk and Elk Studios, if
Hey,
an auto accident caused
Bobby,
you
there?
injury, call
Yep, give me just a
1-800
second.
Elk Ohio. News Radio 610.
Is he still on the phone?
WTVN.
Your heart deserves world-class care. So when you or someone you love has been told they have a heart condition, turn to Cleveland Clinic, the #1 heart program in the nation for 25 years in a row. When you choose Cleveland Clinic, there's peace of mind knowing you have a team specialized in the most complex heart cases.
Hey, Bob,
With
did
an
we get a call from a
unparalleled record of
legislator there
successful
late?
treatments and access
If that's
to the
who it was,
most
nobody
advanced heart
identified. He wanted
technology
to know
available.
if we could do a call on
It's why heart
perspective on
patients
this.
from all 50
Yep.
states
And I'm like,
and
we've got about
129
15
countries
seconds left in
have
the show.
traveled
He
near
called.
and far
He called the store
to put
too,
their
so
trust
I'll
in
hook up with him at the
Cleveland
store.
Clinic.
You don't have a number for him,
So
do you?
if you or a
No,
loved
I
one
know,
are
because
looking for
I'm trying to
answers to a
watch
heart
the clock.
condition
Right.
or need
Yeah.
a second
That's okay.
opinion,
I think we stirred the
call
pot.
the top-ranked heart team in the nation.
Yeah, you did.
Cleveland Clinic.
Hey, open phones next Saturday.
0297.
You know what? That
Cleveland
might-
Clinic.
See, the
Every
thing is,
life
you know
deserves
what?
world-class
I
care.
could talk about that tomorrow.
Message
Are
and data
you
rates
on
may
tomorrow
apply.
too?
Earning
Yeah,
your
I do
degree
2 to
from
4.
one of the top business
right
schools
there.
in the country might sound impossible to fit
Between
into
the
your
distracted
workload.
driving
But what
and
if
that,
there were a
I've
business
actually got some
degree that
material.
advanced
There
your
you go.
career skills and gave you access
All right,
to
you wanna do,
world-renowned
some
faculty,
promos?
leaders, and mentors, all on your schedule? One
Yep,
that
I'm
opened
all
doors
set.
to some of the most influential
here we go.
CEOs, tech companies, law firms, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. And what if you could earn that degree
This is
in
Eric
as
from
little as
OnTarget. This week
16
we talk
months,
about carry options for
100%
women and
online. Find out
let's try that
more.
again.
Text result to 79645.
This is Eric from OnTarget. This week we talk about carry options for women, and Ed has the gun of the week sponsored by Clean Water Systems. Tune in Saturday at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
At Arizona State University today. Learn more about the graduate
This is Eric
programs
from
from
OnTarget.
the
This week we talk
top-ranked
carry
WP
options
Carey
for
School
women,
of
and Ed
Business
has the
at
gun of the week
Arizona
sponsored by
State
Clean Water
University,
Systems. Tune in
offered
tomorrow at noon or
100%
live from
online.
LAPD Studios on
Text
Bethel Road.
result to 79645. That's RESULT.
This is Eric from OnTarget. Today we talk carry options for women, and Ed has the gun of the week sponsored by Clean Water Systems. Tune in today at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
Log on to keepcolumbusbeautiful.org.
That all looks good from here.
Hey, thank you. Yelp, you need something.
And weather in Central Ohio. News Radio 610 WTVN Columbus.
That's fine.